edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Report. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. Anthony, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, dude. Totally stoked. Very big day here for the Downtime crew. You know, Matthew has his graduation day today. The Mets won last night. So pretty hyped up, dude. Pretty hyped up.
You know, I mean, imagine it would be a perfect 10, Tony, if the Yankees didn't get shut out over 10. But, you know, hey, we tried. And, of course, today, the first day of the PGA Championship at Oak Hill. And unfortunately, not much of a leaderboard update because there was a 75-minute frost delay in Rochester, Matthew.
Dude, I told you about the weather, dude.
The weather.
Absolutely, dude.
Rochester, Matthew. Rochester. 03 champion Sean McKeel. I did listen on the radio on the way in. Did take the opening tee shot. I guess a 3-wood off the tee. A nice tight draw.
Nice.
That's how they announced it on the radio.
How's the weather right now, dude?
I think it's fine. I don't think there was any rain or anything. I think it was just
overnight
cold.
freezing.
But I was surprised about that too, because like I know, okay, it wasn't like warm here this morning, but at the same time, I mean, even at 7, it was 46. Like, how is there frost?
Yeah, but Rochester's like kind of up there, no?
But come on, Tony. Is this winter? We're having a frost delay in May? I mean, I don't know. It just seemed a little overkill, no?
Yeah, dude. I mean, wow, it is really up there, huh? I'm looking at it right now.
5 hours from here?
I mean, it's 5.5 hours. It is like it's in between Niagara Falls and Syracuse. So I mean, you're on the border of like it's Lake Ontario up there. So
Ontario, eh?
Ontario, dude.
But is it like the correct? Wow,
the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, it's not Ontario.
Ontario.
No, but don't you hate though how it's just like that? How is there not just one?
Like, yeah, like it shouldn't be. Oh, it could be one or the other. It should be definitive. Yeah,
right. Like, is it a tournament
Ontario.
Or is it a tournament? Yeah, I feel like technically it's supposed to be pronounced tournament, but nobody calls it that.
I say tournament.
Don't you think it's split though? Like, it's not a consistent thing. Everybody's saying tournament. Like,
yeah,
definitely not. Everybody NCAA. Tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I feel like it's kind of more of a New England thing.
True.
Tournament.
True. I'm like blanking, but I feel like there's so many more examples of this.
Yeah.
I mean the calamari and mozzarella thing is weird. Mozzarella. You know what I mean? How is there not one? It's that.
Yeah.
And that's one of those, the calamari, like the galamar. I mean, it's got to be 20%.
Well, it is calamari. Like, if you want to be like, you know, the English pronunciation, it is technically like mozzarella and calamari.
Yeah. So just
Italians just put the
okay,
mozzarella, dude.
All right. No, because I was honestly always confused by that.
I'm really hoping I get some mozzarella today, dude.
Oh,
let me tell you.
I would have a full Italian dinner right now,
dude. Oh my god, I'm thinking of Sunday. Oh yeah, Mother's Day, dude. Had burrata over carbonara. Have you ever had carbonara before?
Yeah, I definitely have,
dude. So good. Oh my god, it was.
Yeah, no,
it's
crazy. All the different dishes, pasta combinations. You know who knows that well is Jaybird. And he's saying Brian at the buzzer. But, you know, I've known Jay for a couple of years now, but yet he still thinks my name is spelled with a Y, Tony. What's that about?
I mean, that's totally ridiculous. I mean, we're in a group chat with him. We've been in several group chats all together. Yeah. And people have definitely typed out your name.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's early in the morning for him. When I left the apartment, he was making his coffee. Maybe, I don't know, dude.
Kind of like morning festivities.
Still maybe hungover from New Orleans too, dude.
Maybe a little recovery J, possibly.
Oh yeah, recovery J for sure, dude.
But yeah, so we'll do a leaderboard update at the end of the show when there's some more action out in the course.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to watch some of the coverage later. Always great major championship days.
Yeah, I'm pumped, dude.
Thursdays, you can't beat it. So excited for that. Later on. But let's go now to the world of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, what a play! Stop it. Yeah. And Alonso cracks one. The Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Drill deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right. So we thought we were in the clear, out of the water, and then a complete dull night for the Yankee offense last night, getting shut out in extra innings by the Toronto Blue Jays, wasting another great performance by Garrett Cole. 6 innings, 7 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts.
Wow.
First game that he started that they lost, I believe they were 9-0 going into this one. His ERA sits at a crisp 2.01 on the season.
Very nice.
You know, and it really is just a shame that the Yankees, I want to say going into this, what did I say yesterday, Tony? That Bassett was at 16 scoreless.
Yeah.
So now he's at 23 scoreless innings.
Crazy.
I mean, where was that with the Mets?
Yeah, honestly, dude.
So he went 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Handed it over to Garcia and Maiza for the 8th, and then Jordan Romano pitched the 9th and 10th inning. Seems like, you know, he's not the best closer in the game, but for whatever reason, it just seems like he does well when he pitches against the Yankees. And, you know, one of those things, you know, well-pitched game, you know, Holmes, Cordero, King following Cole did great. But the only problem was Wandy, extra innings, runners on, gives up a 3-run homer to Danny Jansen, who's hitting under 200.
Oh,
But I mean, it's the extra inning. It's tough. It's tough. We just start we were just talking about this yesterday, but it's like, you know, starting the reliever with a runner in scoring position, especially when the road team hasn't scored. I mean, how many times are the teams actually able to hold them off in that situation?
No,
very
never.
few.
Yeah.
So it was tough. It was annoying. It was frustrating. It was reminiscent of what I had gotten me so upset over the past couple of weeks. But at the same time, it's not about what you did yesterday. It's about what you're doing today. So, and just looking big picture, we took the first 2 games of the series. If we win today, that'll be 3 out of 4. We would have signed up for that any day of the week.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the offensive lull, you know, it's tough. And I know things are always two-sided, Tony. So, I mean, obviously Bassett working on 23 straight scoreless. I mean, he does deserve some credit here. He's clearly like dialed in, locked in, ready to go.
Yeah, it's good for him, dude.
But you just, you know, 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, 11 team strikeouts. It's just, we talk about approach, and you feel like they could have got something done, especially in extra innings. I mean, that's embarrassing not to at least get 1 in.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand, you know, yeah, Bassett threw a gem. He threw 7 innings. But I mean, you still had, I mean, really, you had 3 other innings to try and get something going with 3 other pitchers.
Right.
So it's like, come on, you know, you could have done something.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's one of those things. It's like, are you kidding? But like I said, big picture, especially if this is in the rearview mirror later on today, it's not a big deal. But just don't make it a big deal. And, you know, that'll start today, 7:07 in Toronto for the series finale. And I think we have the advantage in this one. I thought we had the advantage yesterday, but I think this is a little different just because we've seen this guy religiously get hit around the last couple of years. Jose Berrios on the hill for the Blue Jays. Nestor, I like Nestor in this spot. He hasn't been himself his last couple of starts. You know, that ERA is at 5.5. So I just feel like he's due for a bounce back. Nestor, especially after a loss, always seems to pitch even better. So I feel pretty good about the opportunity that's in front of us. You know, Berrios lets up a lot of hits, 48 and 46 innings. Has struck out a decent amount, 44. Has allowed 5 home runs though in 46 innings. So I guess what's that, one every 9 innings. So actually that's not terrible. But yeah, I'm just excited to see them kind of rebound, make a statement. Let's get that confidence back. And I think we'll be just fine. And I'm just kind of curious on your end of things. You know, I'm always going to look on the optimistic side, get tight from time to time, but try to be as optimistic as possible. Am I right with the thinking that it was just an off night and this isn't going to start another stretch where they're scoring 2 runs in 4 games type of deal?
Yeah, I think so. Again, like you'll get who kind of performed well offensively for the Yankees. As of recently, was really everyone kind of coming together. I mean, everyone from Glaber down to Trevino in the lineup. I mean, I feel like was all like hitting really well at one point or another in a game. And obviously, scoreboard says 0. None of these guys are really producing at all. So, I mean, for all of these guys to all go into a slump at once right now, I mean, it seems kind of unlikely. So, kind of like what you said, almost brush it off. It's about, how you play today. So, and you have, again, you mentioned Berrios, like we've seen that guy get popped. Like,
yeah, I think it's the opposite of going against Bassett on a scoreless inning streak.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then Nestor too. Honestly, not to make me feel better, but do you think Nestor's going to be all right? I mean, we've seen him struggle, and groin bothered him down the stretch last year. I mean, what do you think there?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. And I think tonight you'll see like vintage like Nestor against
Smiling,
a good lineup,
Louis T on,
having a good time. Yeah. Exactly.
So really, really hopeful there. But yeah, so I mean that I know that's a little shorter of a recap than usual out of me, but the thing is, I mean, there wasn't anything to recap. I mean, Cole was great, so you feel really good about him, and nice to see too, Tony, him rebound, because the previous couple starts he had given up those home runs after not allowing any, so didn't allow any here. So I would think that you would agree with me here that Cole, up to this point this season, I mean, really everything you could have asked for. That's what you were looking for coming out of the gate.
Yeah,
so,
literally.
A lot better than we saw the last year plus out of Garrett Cole. So, so we'll talk about tonight's game in a second. But I know you are so excited to talk about the theatrics of yesterday's game between the Rays and the Mets.
Yes, dude. I am excited. Okay, let's not get too excited, but
young guys.
Young guys, great. You brought up, obviously big storyline here. A couple of them, really. One of them being, how Senga could kind of perform.
Right.
Obviously much needed pitching for sure for the Mets. And then, of course, Mark Vientos getting the call up for the second time. Last season, they called him up for a couple games, did not bat well at all. But obviously, we know about his production so far in the minors leading up to last night. And we'll get to him. But I mean, I first want to start with Kadai Senga, who kind of had, a career start as a Met so far. He threw 6 innings. He only gave up 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and a career high 12 Ks. I believe his high before that was 7 Ks, I think.
Okay.
So, but fanning 12 people over 6 innings, he was dominant from the get-go from what we saw, where he struggles in the first and second inning and then needs time to settle down. I mean, he fanned 7 batters through the first 4 innings. So literally from the get-go, he was really dealing. I mentioned how Tampa Bay do like off-speed pitches, which, we've seen them hit our bullpen and stuff like that. But they really didn't have an answer for the forkball. And then at times when, Senga wanted to change it up, he threw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, which I want to say for me, I mean, it's the fastest I've seen him throw his fastball for sure. I feel like, prior starts, you're seeing it hit 96, maxing out there. But he was consistently throwing 98 and just absolutely picking off corners of the strike zone, which is why, you saw him fan Arozarena twice. You saw him fan Lau, Franco, both Laus really. Paredes too, who's performed well in this series against the Mets. So, I mean, like obviously like a great outing for him, something you really needed. He just gave up that 1 run, I want to say in the 4th inning. Yeah, it was just a 4th inning, like RBI single. But unfortunately, where the Mets faltered was a little bit of their bullpen, which is not what you're used to seeing. But again, I always talk about how their bullpen are, all their bullpen guys are pitchers who throw predominantly off-speed pitches, which is what we've seen Tampa Bay like to hit. They really don't throw fastballs, which is fine because we have good bullpen guys. But you threw Brigham in there for the 7th. And he gave up a solo shot to Paredes. It was a breaking ball, just didn't break enough, and it was just hung over the middle of the plate. And then you saw Ottavino go in there for the 8th, and he gave up 2 earned runs, courtesy of Brandon Louse for a double, 2 RBI home run. And then from there, you're thinking like it's 4-2. That was after the Vientos homer answer in the 7th. Again, someone who 13 home runs in the minors. You brought him up. Obviously, you have hopes. But, you're like, all right, like growing pains, whatever. You don't really expect much out of him. But him at third base looked really good. That was his one hit. He went 1 for 4 last night, but obviously a big clutch hit, to kind of rally some of the Mets there. I mean, you're down 2-0. That 2-run homer makes it 2-2. And then I mentioned, Ottavino getting into some trouble. And Ottavino is a pretty interesting guy because, again, another pitcher who throws a lot of off-speed pitches. And someone who we've kind of seen struggle a little bit on back-to-back days, but this season we've used him back-to-back several times. He's been totally clean. And now people are starting to murmur that, like, and they're bringing up like high leverage situations. Like, he hasn't really been great, which is interesting to kind of monitor. I'm definitely going to look at, because again, like this season, obviously, the Mets didn't find themselves in a lot of high leverage situations in the 7th, 8th inning. Normally they were either, up by 5 or down by 7 or something like that. So I'll be interested to see, again, like Ottavino on the back-to-back. We've seen him struggle, and I talked about that last season too, which is what we saw here. Tampa Bay, of course, good lineup. So I think maybe just unfortunate timing of obviously Ottavino giving up a home run. And at that point, it's 4-2. You go into the 9th inning. They bring in Nogasek, who is someone you don't have a lot of confidence in. But I guess they want to save Robertson, which is fine. But I mean, he gives up another run. I think it was an Arozarena, like reached on an infield single. I guess you could say kind of a bobble play of the infield. I think it was McNeil who kind of bobbled it a little bit, but he's just, I don't know. Nogasek again, like I just feel like he's not a guy to close out a game at all. And I understand, maybe the Mets were kind of waving the white flag already because it's 4-2 going to the 9th. After that, it was 5-2. Obviously, super super tough right there. Of an outing by Nogasek and a weird decision by Buck. Honestly, I think I would have thrown Robertson in there from the get-go, but obviously it all worked out in the end. Because in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs.
Were you watching?
Yes, I was watching.
You must have
home,
like almost hit the ceiling.
Literally, absolutely ridiculousness. Vogelback gets on base, and so is Marte, right? So it kind of sets up
with 2 outs or no? Or
I think Vogelback got on with 1 out,
and then there was an out in between. And
then Marte gets on, and then Alvarez just again like 2-out home run here, 426 feet, absolute bomb, hits the second deck at Citi Field, ties the game, big 3-run home run. The dugout absolutely elated to send this thing into extras. I forget what the final out was, but it doesn't matter. On to the 10th inning there, where we do end up bringing in Robertson, but he kind of struggles a little bit. Again, same deal, breaking balls, just kind of hanging over the middle of the plate. I think Ramirez first singles off of like a breaking ball that was kind of on the outside, but middle of the plate still. He was just able to reach and kind of bloop it into a single. That scored the runner on second walls, making it a 6-5 game. Right after that, allow singles to right. And then I think, Marte just had no play for Ramirez at home. He ends up scoring. But honestly, Alvarez, makes a really smart play. Because obviously Marte throws to home. Alvarez see that the ball is short. It's going to go on the bounce. So he charges it, takes it on the short hop. Ramirez ends up scoring, but then they get allowing a rundown between first and second, get the out to end the inning. So I think a good heads-up play by Alvarez right there. Again, he continues to look good behind the plate defensively. And, of course, tying the game in the 9th, too, is really great. His May has been spectacular. I think he has 3 home runs this month so far.
And I'm riled, though, that I told you, Tony. I knew it. Yeah. You were a little leery about Alvarez, and I just said, give him a chance. He's produced.
Yeah.
This is your future. And it's so exciting because really good catching prospects that have an ability to catch and do stuff nice behind the plate don't come around that often. They have power.
Right.
They don't hit 170. I mean, this is a really good opportunity they have right
now.
Yeah,
huge. And honestly, my biggest concern with him was his defense.
Right.
And I mean, the way he was catching Kadai last night, I mean, there was a few outs too that he kind of stole just because of good pitch framing.
Right.
So, I mean, Kadai isn't an easy pitcher to be catching either.
Right.
So,
a lot of movement.
Yeah, dude. So he really super, super impressive, I think, as of late too, which is great. And I really do think that, a lot of it has to do with him being up in the majors with Beatty, having Vientos get brought up too. I mean, you can see the 3 of them have a sense of camaraderie for sure. Being the young rookies that they are and all on this team. And then on top of that, we're on the bottom of the 10th now. Again, looking a little dim. You're down by 2. Alonso's up though. with 2 men on, Nimmo and McNeil, and he absolutely cranks one 416 feet. It was a fastball, upper part of the strike zone, a little bit on the outside, but he just had a perfect swing on it, hits the bow of the bat, and he just absolutely drives that one, which was like a perfect, book end to this game because you had a lot of your youth kind of put you in the position to win. And then Alonso, your veteran big bat, is the guy who kind of puts it away here to beat the Rays in extras. So they, end up winning 8-7 in 10 innings. And of course, you're riled. Again, I talked about the emotion on the field of the Mets yesterday in their loss and how, they started, seeming like they was kind of eating away at each other. They were arguing with each other. I told you about Drew Smith yelling at Beatty a little bit at third base. Tensions were certainly high. You can feel it going into this game too. And I think, Alonso hitting that dinger, even Alvarez hitting that dinger, and even earlier than that with Vientos hitting that home run. I mean, you saw like a sense of comfort in this team, a little bit of they took a deep breath and realized like we can do this sort of deal. And of course, I mean, again, you have to say it all started with Senga. I mean, we haven't had. I mean, for like him personally has not had a dominant start like this at all, let alone a dominant first inning. Again, it's about starting the game off on the right foot. They did that. And I think, the Mets did struggle offensively at first, and it looked like, business as usual, where it was just like, all right, like, runs the corners, 1 out. I think this is like the third inning, and like McNeil grounds out in double play. As the inning, you left 2 men on, guy was on third. It's like, what are you doing, dude? But they find a way here, and they find a way through the long ball too. It's not like what we've seen where, they string hits along and then it's just RBI singles here and there or sac fly RBIs. It's getting men on and then having a power bat, bring them in. And it's great to see, especially, out of the young guys. Of course, like you say, Brian, it really isn't about what you did yesterday. It's about what you do today. There is another game today. Yes, I mean, you want to be happy about how they won, who they beat last night, about Senga's outing and everything like that. But I mean, for me, I'm not like that excited.
You're
honestly.
Individually excited though. 4 Vientos, 4 Alvarez.
Of course, dude. Of course. And
Senga.
And you want these guys to continue to play. Of course, specifically the young guys. It's gonna be interesting where they go. Beatty last night, didn't start. He pinch hit for Kana later in the game, but Vientos got the start at third base. So again, it's gonna be interesting to see if they're gonna kind of try and slide Beatty in the left field position to get Kana out of there. I would enjoy that. Again, I mentioned how McNeil, who they've shown in left field, who looks great. Yeah. I mean, he's your second baseman. There's really no other way around it. Bring up Vientos. They did send down Guillorme.
Okay, which is a good move. I don't think you need Guillorme.
Yeah, no, you don't need him. It's just, I don't know. It is in kind of a tough situation because obviously I would probably be like, oh, send down Vogelback or Tommy Pham.
Right. That instead of, but
Vogelback probably would have been the choice because again, I thought Tommy Pham at first, but he's your only like backup outfielder.
So you need a fourth outfielder.
Yeah. And then, but Guillorme is your only backup shortstop, really. I know Vientos has played some.
Beatty could do it in a pinch.
Beatty probably could do it, but
McNeil in a pinch.
Yeah, I guess McNeil could too. But again, like, I don't know. I always liked Guillorme because he was such a utility player in the infield.
Right.
Yeah, his bat really suffered and everything, but he got a good glove. It'd be interesting to see what happens to him this year. Definitely keep an eye on that. But I mean, I still think, Pham and Vogelback. I mean, I think Vogelback struck out looking in the 7th. Like it's like the same old story, dude. It's just like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like it's again, like I understand you take pitches and stuff like that, and you have a good eye, but it's like the striking out looking like has to stop, dude. You have to at least be swinging at these pitches. I mean, it's not like you're getting fooled that bad. But like I was saying, game today, 110 actually. So interesting. The body clock, Brian, Tyler McGill on the mound. I cannot tell you this season if the Mets have strung along 2 good starts at all this year. So it'll be interesting to see how Tyler kind of responds here. I mean, so far this season, he's 4-2, 4.02 ERA. He has 31 Ks over 40 and a third innings pitched here. His last outing was against the Nationals, only gave you 5 innings, gave up a run, so, limited the damage. But again, I mean, you're looking for length out of these starters, and he hasn't really shown you that. again, last 5 starts, you're looking at 4 2/3, 5 2/3, 4 innings, 5 innings. I mean, it's time for him again. Like, give me 6 innings, 2 earned runs, like just something like that. Quality, something the Mets could work with. We have obviously some offense going. We scored 8 runs last night. I think we scored 5 runs the night before too. So the offense has been churning. You're against someone tonight on the mound for Tampa Bay in Taj Bradley, 22 years old, right-hander. Obviously, young pitcher here, has done well. Kind of held his own a little bit against Houston, 5 innings, limiting damage with only 3 earned runs for someone like him against a Houston lineup. Pretty solid. Cincinnati, 5 innings, no earned runs. Boston, 5 innings, 3 earned runs again. So, again, someone who hasn't given you a lot of length. You imagine you're seeing some bullpen guys out of Tampa Bay. Their bullpen is kind of tired. They started with an opener yesterday. Obviously, going into the extras, they used even more bullpen guys than they wanted to. So, I mean, this guy, try to get his pitch count high, try to get hits on him early, challenge this pitcher, let the Rays go back into their bullpen. You guys use guys on short rest, use guys that aren't their best guys. There should be more than enough opportunity for the Mets to get hits tonight. And then again, Tyler McGill, 6 innings and 2 earned runs. I don't think that's like a lot to ask for. You would imagine you see Drew Smith out of the bullpen tonight. Maybe Robertson on the back-to-back, but you're probably not going to see Ottavino. Brigham maybe. But, I mean, I have more than enough confidence that we can kind of string along 2 good wins here with our offense. I mean, I think it's going to be an offensive game for sure. I'll say the Mets take this one in my first pick. I'll say 6-4.
Will they break the attendance record last night at 29,650?
I don't think so, dude. I mean, it's a Thursday game, 1 in the afternoon. I mean, it's not really made for your attendance there.
But last night, I mean, that's a little weak,
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, again, it's against the Rays. Kadai.
But Vientos' debut, bleak. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Where's the excitement? I mean, everybody's just calling it a day, I think.
Dude, yeah. I mean, we had the worst stretch in baseball this season out of any team against the worst teams. I mean, I'm not really blaming the fan base for not showing up. Obviously, it'd be nice if they did. But I mean,
also for those fans that are just tight but could go and have a close proximity. I mean, what are you doing? You know what I mean? That are just endless funds can just go if they feel like it, and it's like you're just not going to show. Like, clear. I'm just saying that I don't think you're that big of a fan if you're doing that.
No, yeah, very true, dude.
Season tickets, don't even use them, don't even offer them to anybody.
That's ridiculous, dude. Yeah. I'll take it.
That's what
if you're out there, season tickets you're watching, give them to me. I'll go today. I don't care, dude.
And it's funny. I'm just thinking about this, with the Yankee game starting at 7, the Mets with the matinee today, and the Yankees have to fly to Cincinnati after the game. So it's like, why would this not be a 4:00 game or even a 1:00 game?
I know. It doesn't make any sense.
Just, customs. I mean, by the time they get to Cincinnati, I mean, is it going to be 4:00 in the morning, 5:00 in the morning, maybe even 6:00 in the morning?
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous, dude.
I mean, I can't imagine the flight to Toronto and Cincinnati is less than 3.5, 4 hours at least.
Yeah.
And then the customs part of it, crazy.
Front office, travel department.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Fired. Done.
Yeah.
I mean,
dropping the ball.
Maybe they're just thinking, oh, it's Cincinnati. They'll beat up on them anyway. Sorry, Dwayne, but.
That's tight. That's tough, dude. Yeah.
Anyway, it's like, despite all that, I'm glad the game's now, not after this travel, because then hitting might be tough once again. But yeah, I just think Berrios, hit him early, hit him often. Let's get moving on the base pass. Be nice to see, Volpe, maybe a multi-steal game. I could definitely see Judge taking him deep, just sitting on an off-speed or a fastball. And I think Nestor will give him 7 innings of 2 earned ball, strike out 8, walk 1, 4 hits. And I think all of that is going to add up to a Yankee, let's say 6-3 victory to take 3 out of 4 from Toronto. The good feels are back, and the Yankees are back in my good graces, Tony.
Love it, dude. Do you want to get some comments?
Yeah.
We have a lot of comments from Before, obviously commenting about the Mets.
Is he drinking already?
He's got to be. He also mentions that he was 3 for 3 last night, picking Blue Jays, Mets, Diamondbacks.
He likes to toot his own horn.
He really does, dude. And we'll get to his predictions of the night. But he does ask our thoughts about Pete Alonso using the F word on live TV last night. I mean, I don't think it's like a huge deal. Again, you mentioned a fan base that's kind of in a lull right now. I mean, he's trying to get something going. And a good, let's fucking go Mets. I mean, at the end of a walk-off home run here. First walk-off, by the way, of the season for the Mets. I mean, yeah, why not? Do something to rile them up.
this is one of the dog and pony shows. The whole swearing like president and stuff is so ridiculous. It's not even funny how it's like, you can't say that.
And not to mention, like, especially in professional sports, there are microphones in the dugout, like on the bench, ice side, whatever. And we hear it all the time, dude.
And it's like, you know what I would say? And I know this sounds a little outlandish and I apologize if it does, but even when people mention like little kids and stuff, but it's like, so you protect them as much as you can. And then, there's people out there left and right all the time that are swearing like a sailor. Did being guarded as a child, like, do anything to them?
No,
I don't know. I
think
it's a complete charade and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I really do.
Honestly,
I really do.
I mean, you ever hear most of these kids talk? I mean, they're already cursing anyway, dude.
But
ridiculous,
it's like,
dude.
it's the same thing. Like, the government cares about us. We're all united. All that stuff, dude. It's so insane. It's not even worth a conversation. It really isn't.
My gosh. All right, moving on here. But first says, Kadai Senga's family in attendance last night. I don't have anything to do with it.
Maybe that's why it was 29-6 instead of 29.
Yeah, maybe, dude. Imagine Kadai Senga family in the Bronx Zoo, aka Yankee Stadium. I don't know if he wants Senga to pitch for the Yankees now. Is that what saying,
I think he realizes environment-wise, attendance, turnout. It's just a more better crowd.
Mentioning Tampa Bay stole 7 bases last night. They did steal a lot, and honestly, again, they challenged Alvarez, which they've been doing all series. And he has, he hasn't thrown a ball to second where it's just like egregiously out of reach, and
they're getting good jumps. That's more on the pitcher.
They are getting great jumps. Also, I think I think it was a Rosarena late in the 7th too, where they ended up scoring on. Like Alonso wasn't holding him onto the bag.
Yeah,
Alonso was just out, like whatever. So Rosarena had a big lead, got a big jump, and Alvarez makes a great throw to Lindor. Lindor is tries to tag, and it was honestly like very questionable if a Rosarena was even safe, but they ended up calling him safe. But he got a great jump, so you have to do a better job, pitcher and Alonso, with holding that runner to first base. We know how aggressive all the teams around the league have been with stealing bases,
right?
And but I still back up Alvarez. Great. Poor Guillaume being sent down to the minors. It is what it is. He does mention Vogelback and Pham have no minor league options, so just fucking cut him.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Aaron Hicks 2.0.
But first, as we turn the corner, Mets going on a 10-game winning streak now, he says. Tampa Bay got no stars, no rivalry with the Mets, he says.
What's going to happen first, a Met 10-game winning streak or a Met game with 40,000 in the stands?
10-game winning streak, probably. Well, actually, I don't know, man. Because I would imagine maybe if they're at 9, maybe for that 10th game, 40,000.
I mean, Buffer might be part of the problem. He says he hasn't. I can't remember the last time he said he was.
And he's in the fucking city too. Buffer. Yeah. You should be going to every game.
Yeah,
buddy.
You're not doing your job.
Honestly, I would be if I was there. If I was living in Queens.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting. Also, he's saying Tampa Bay got no stars, no rivalry with the Mets. It's like, well, they don't have a rivalry, but also, there's some players that are pretty good on that team.
There's definitely some stars.
Like Wander Franco eventually is going to be a pretty big star, I think.
Yeah.
Rosarena, has had a good run.
They have good pitchers.
McClanahan, I don't know before. Did he not win the Cy Young? Are we making it up? Are we seeing things? I don't know. And
also, like, they're the best team in the league. So, everyone has a rivalry with them because there was a huge target pain on their back. Come
on. And before, actually, no, it's actually you going.
It is my turn. My bad here.
But I was just gonna say before that, we do have an outright leader at the PGA. Kazuki Higa, 1 under through 2, started on the back 9. Right now we only have 8 golfers out on the course. So still a lot of guys to tee off, and no one notable just yet. But just wanted to get that out there, Tony.
No, I love it, dude. My next pick, I know I'm looking at the Orioles game, honestly. Tyler Anderson on the mound for the Angels, not having a year that he had last year. I'm also looking at the White Sox, honestly, that've been like kind of pouncing on the Guardians.
Wait, I love how too before saying Wander who, a Rosa Ray who, no names. It's like you're telling me they wouldn't be batting in the middle of the Mets lineup?
Yeah.
Come on, before.
I know, dude. I think I took Cleveland's getting absolutely pounced on, but the White Sox. How do you confidently take the White Sox, dude?
You can't.
Yeah, I guess not. Give me the Orioles. you got Wells on the mound for the Orioles. Bright spot, 2.68 ERA, 3-1. Obviously, the advantage against Tyler Anderson. And then, the Orioles here, who dropped game 1 kind of decisively to the Angels, win the next 2. Game 4 tonight. We're going to win 3 out of 4 here. We've seen what an impressive team the Orioles are, having honestly one of the top records in the league right now, at 28-15. I say, offense continues to pump. Give me Baltimore here. I'll say 5-2.
All right. I'm going to go with the Dodgers. They're in St. Louis. We know the mess St. Louis has been better of late, but still 18-26 overall. They've won. Both teams have won 4 out of 5, but I just think Adam Wainwright, he should have retired a couple years ago. There's just no reason to keep putting him out there. 7 ERA, only 10 innings, but I think Urias has the upper hand here, as well as the Dodger offense, which has really, kind of livened up of recent, between Freeman and Betts and Josh Outman, a guy that we don't talk about that much, Tony. Another one of those stars in my fantasy teams. 9 homers, 27 RBIs, 902 OPS. So really providing a spark in that Dodger lineup. And then, Muncy with the 14 home runs has been unbelievable as well. So all of that being said, I think this is going to amount to a Dodger 7-4 victory over the Cardinals.
Wow. I'm going to pick the Guardians tonight, dude. Dropping the first 2 here against the White Sox in Chicago. White Sox have scored, I think, like 15 runs in these 2 games, too. I just think law of averages here. White Sox take a little schneid, a little break from the offense, and give Cleveland a chance here. Big underdog here in Logan Allen, 24-year-old for Cleveland. 3.4 ERA, 1-1. Has been giving up a lot of runs and stuff, but I think maybe he showcases some talent here against Chicago and against a Dylan Cease, who has had a lackluster performance so far here for Chicago. Got absolutely hammered, giving up 700 runs against Kansas City. So giving Cleveland here, I'll say 6-5, tight one.
All right, and I'm going to go with your old friend Trevor Williams, dude, going up against the Marlins. Nats looking to avoid the sweep. One of their best hitters, Joey Meneses, on paternity leave. Going up against Yuri Perez. But I just think, Washington losing the first 2 games of this series and losers of 3 of 5 overall are due to bounce back. Both games were decided by 1 run, and we've seen Williams at time, pitch above his ability. And I think this is a scenario where that happens. And I'm going to say this is going to be a 2-0 national win. And you are going to see Lane Thomas with a 8th inning go ahead 2-run homer. Only runs of the game, Tony.
It's most late today.
Yeah, only 6. But there's other stuff. So at least there's that.
Yeah.
And then Prefer still going at it.
He says, you buy tickets for stars, give me Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, baseball, and I'm there. That's ridiculous. You buy tickets because you're a fan of the team.
He's beaten down. He really is beaten down. I'm just saying. I don't know. I just, like I said, individually for the Mets, Beatty, Vientos, Alvarez. I don't know. I think that's pretty exciting.
So excited. Are you kidding me?
That's the
3
new
top
core.
Prospects coming up here. Yeah, dude. You fucking kidding me, dude?
When was the last time anybody came up?
No, exactly, dude. I still feel like Prefer. We're so hot, 10-game win streak. Like,
yeah.
Go to the game.
Hot
Let's go.
and
Starts today with
hot
you,
and cold.
dude. Yeah.
I guess I don't know if it's menopause or what it is for Prefer, but
wow,
just kind of all over the place. Thought you kind of like that one, Tony.
No, that was good. That was good, Brian. What a zing!
What a zing! What a zing! Let's go now to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot. Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan Stahl. Oh my goodness. Gets the gun right back. Terrifying and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliant from Igor Shesterkin. It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
All right. Seems like we haven't had a hockey game, Tony, in like a month.
I know, it's crazy. It's only been like 2 days.
So we do have game 1 in Raleigh, North Carolina here. Chokeries Hurricanes hosting the Florida Panthers. For this game, Carolina minus 145. At home, of course, and both teams really impressive runs to the conference finals. A host of guys, stepping up and performing well, and especially the Hurricanes. They've had to use a few different goaltenders, and it seems like it doesn't matter who they put in there. They're doing their job, and just overall offensively, not reliant heavily on one guy. Definitely a team effort. And what I was going to look up, I'm just kind of curious what the odds are. I don't know if you've seen this or what your best guess would be. Series price. What do you think it is, in this series? Like, who do you think's favored, and do you think it's close? What's your guess here, Tony?
I would imagine that the Hurricanes are favored. I don't know, man. I mean, I would say it's so tough because of what the Panthers have been doing, obviously, and
right,
where they came from. But you'd imagine the Hurricanes are favored, but not by a lot. Maybe like, I don't know, 3-1 odds or something.
No, so it's just like,
Plus
minus
3,
120, minus 140, minus 170, something like that, versus plus 110.
Right. I mean, I would say like Carolina's favorite. I don't know, maybe like 210, right?
Minus 135.
135, that close?
You can get the Panthers at plus 115. I think all of that's pointing to they're expecting a 7-game series.
Yeah, definitely.
Hard to not think so. I mean, obviously, Panthers were inconsistent, barely getting into the playoffs. They are an 8 seed, technically.
Yeah.
I know it's not wild card. They're wild card number 2, Tony, right?
No, yeah, they're the 8th seed.
So, they barely got in, but then have been on such a run. And then, Carolina, they were technically the 3rd seed?
Yes.
Because was Toronto 2?
Boston
Toronto,
1.
Yeah, Carolina 3, Devils 4, Rangers 5. I feel like the Rangers, been like, that was like years ago.
I know.
Kind of tight, honestly.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Especially with how, like, imagine if it was Rangers Panthers right now, today.
And it's, do you feel, we had the lengthy discussion the other day about, the missing ingredients for our baseball teams to get back to, where we want to be.
Right.
Is the ingredients in that question, is it just as tough for you with the Rangers or no?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, think about the Rangers season and how well it went and the guys they brought in. I mean, you would have thought that they had the answer already,
Leadership void? I mean, is that, or it seems like it shouldn't have that much of an effect, that they should have been able to do more with Gallant than they did.
I mean, at the end of the day, just these guys just did not execute,
Yeah. But did he put him in the best positions? Do you think he came up short in that aspect? And that's
Gallant?
That's why he's looking for a job.
I don't know. I really don't think. I mean, what more could he have done? I mean, yeah, he may have been maybe too slap happy.
coming in hot, ready for graduation
with the change of clothes
and the downtime sweatshirt.
Yes, dude, I forget that.
DowntownTV.com. Check it out.
Gallant, again, like, yeah, maybe he was a little too slap happy sometimes with mixing up the lines. But regardless, I mean, these guys should be able to score. Like, they should have been able to produce. Like, yeah, I don't know, dude. It's tough.
Any though, like just one big move. We know a new head coach is coming in, but trade or try to acquire. I mean, anything that comes to mind, like in terms of something bold, is something bold around the corner.
I mean, it's gonna kind of have to be, I guess. I mean, a lot of these guys you brought in, like, are gonna be free agents. The guys you brought in at the trade deadline, like.
Yeah, Kane's not coming back.
Probably
back. Not Tarasenko.
Tarasenko's going to be a free agent too.
It's a shame because I think he was kind of good. No,
I would like to keep him.
Yeah.
Not to mention you have some of your own guys who are going to go into free agency. I think Keandre Miller.
Yeah,
was a free agency. So maybe an entirely different looking team come next season. Not to mention you kind of want to fill your head coach position first. So I mean you got to make some type of move. I don't know, dude. It's kind of tough too, because I mean, like, last year you went for the veteran players around the league to kind of pick up. Trocheck, again, like, what I feel about Trocheck. I enjoyed Trocheck a lot. But I don't know. I mean, they got to get someone who that could be. I don't know. Again, it's someone who
somebody from the Maple Leafs. They said the GM did say anything's on the table.
Yeah, I know.
Johnny coming back to New York.
I wouldn't. I don't want an old veteran. I don't want like an older player.
So you need Austin Matthews, basically. Or Bunting? Would he bring an edge?
Honestly, a Mitch Marner or Michael Bunting would be dope.
Yeah.
I mean, they've scored a lot. Toronto, pretty crazy, falling flat on their face in the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the second round, ridiculous.
Florida's that animal, though, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, you never know. Again, depending on what Florida, maybe you can go after someone from Florida. I mean, they had a lot of guys who looked good this season. And again, like if they make a run for the cup, like I don't think they're not going to try and run it back with the same team. Like I just don't think.
And what is it? Chicago has the number 1 pick.
Yeah, Chicago does.
It's a shame because like there's no way they would trade it, but wouldn't it almost be worth just trading whoever you need to get Bedard?
It's not going to happen.
No, I know, but I'm just saying hypothetically.
Hypothetically, yeah.
Because I feel like that's what we need, and we had that opportunity, and boy, did we blow it with the draft picks.
Oh yeah! Oh my God, dude, unbelievable.
Do you think any of those guys are out the door? The Kakos, the Lafrenières.
Yeah.
Both,
I do.
Possibly?
I don't think both. I think it's going to be one, and I think it's going to be Lafreniere.
Yeah.
Just looking at some free agents here now. I mentioned a lot from, obviously, the Rangers. Jonathan Taves from Chicago. Again, someone who is old. I think he's past his prime. He's 35 years old. Jordan Staal, old. I wouldn't take Jordan Staal.
Did Timo sign his extension?
I don't think so.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But again, I guess he kind of showed up a little bit for the playoffs for the Devils. Matt Dumba, I kind of like. He's a good defenseman. Max Pacioretty, someone you may want to look at. He's on Carolina right now. He's been playing really well. He's been on the Canadiens for a while. But, I mean, look, he's going to be turning 35, so it's kind of tough, dude. Like, youngest free agent right now, Sean Monahan, Montreal, 28 years old, center. You need like a good winger, dude. And there's really no one here that pops off the page that's like, okay.
So it almost has to be a trade.
Yeah. Be interesting to see where Bergeron goes. Bergeron seems like he's going to retire, though. Possible back injury.
Tatar, too old.
Tyler Bertuzzi was a pretty good pickup for Boston at the trade deadline.
But it just seems like if the Rangers had Tyler Bertuzzi, like how much of a difference would that have made this year?
Not that much. Well, I mean, you never know.
We need someone that's like feared, Tony. You know what I mean? That's just a force out there.
It's pretty crazy. You really just don't see it.
Draisaitl?
I guess. Try to go for him.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you never know what the Oilers' mindset is, but
I know.
But I guess the thing is that type of top tier talent. I mean, it's evident around the league. It's just there's not too much of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like just off the top of our heads, like top 5 players. So you have McDavid, you have Matthews, you have Draisaitl,
right?
Jack Hughes, I guess, after this past year.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, for this year alone, I mean, you think of like 100-point seasons. Matthew Tkachuk had one.
So
Jason Robertson had 6. one. Matthew Tkachuk, he's not going to be a free agent. I don't think anytime soon.
No, and they're obviously not going to get rid of him.
There's no way, dude.
Who else? Am I missing somebody? Who else is like
really good?
Yeah.
McKinnon? I mean, Jack Hughes could be up there. Yeah, Nathan McKinnon, probably. He's probably had like 85, 90 points in the season.
Yeah. Tavares isn't as good as he used to be, kind
of. I mean, dude, he had a great year for Toronto, but again, it's just like
nothing in the playoffs.
The age, nothing in the playoffs, and the age,
Oh, and
Nikita Kucherov in Tampa Bay.
Pasternak is he in the top 10? You think?
I mean, for this season, dude, he had 113 points. He played every game this season too. 61 goals.
Erik Karlsson, top 11 points.
Erik Karlsson, dude.
What was the final line with Karlsson here? 25 goals?
25 goals, 76 assists.
Definitely, though. It's going to be the thing where he's not even going to come close to that. Maybe he'll have half of that production.
I mean, he may, but dude, minus 26 on the ice, dude.
Terrible team. Though.
And you're a defenseman, though. It's like, yeah, I know, terrible team, but Jesus, dude.
Burfer wants to know what we think about Pat McAfee joining ESPN. I didn't know that was. And hasn't he been on like?
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't listen to Pat McAfee that much. I don't like him that much.
Yeah.
I do know that Barstool has been like trying to get shows on ESPN. I think like Big Cat almost had one, but then they ended up flubbing
all those
it.
guys
it's
are
just like
so annoying.
Why?
Such chiefs.
But it's also like, why are they trying to get on ESPN? Like,
yeah.
They're like, I feel like Barstool's entire thing was to not be like a network, to not be like an ESPN, to be like not as formal and to be like more laid back or whatever. But
I guess this came out 2 days ago that it was a multi-million-dollar deal that is expected to begin in the fall. And he's going to walk away from a 4-year, $120 million contract with FanDuel. The amount the ESPN will pay McAfee is not fully known, but is more than 8 figures per year. The move comes Disney in the midst of 7,000 jobs being eliminated. And he's already a regular on ESPN's College Game Day, does college football alternate broadcasts with Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions. And his YouTube show is more freewheeling, including liberal use of the F word. So Andrew Marchand chiefing into what we just talked about.
Basically.
And Jay saying everybody's a sellout. Everybody has their price.
Wow. Jay comes in. Everyone's a sellout. Wow, Jay. And then VHS DVD guy. Barstool's a bunch of losers. You guys are way better, he says.
Appreciate that. And like we talked about this the other day, it's just the lack of an agenda. We're just saying it like it is. And ESPN, maybe Tony, if they gave us $1 billion, we'd consider it.
Yeah, definitely $1 billion, but it's like, like we crew our own guys, obviously.
Right.
Like our own crew, it's our own thing. It's we do our own thing.
And we're changing the name of ESPN to Downtime.
Yeah.
One last thing I was just thinking about this with ESPN and stuff, and just in general with like sports broadcasting. I know we've gone back and forth a million times, but any role in sports production, game production, like what would be your ultimate the thing that you would think you would enjoy the most? Any role that's involved with the production of a game or a show?
Honestly, definitely directing.
So directing over actually calling the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Really?
Definitely. I mean, like, honestly, before I came to Downtime, I didn't do much on air,
right?
If at all. I was always a behind the scenes control room guy. So I don't know, dude. I mean, obviously, if they're like, hey, you want to call this game? Like, I would call any game, really. If I had to call a game, it would definitely be hockey. That is for sure.
Okay.
Just because it's so much fun, dude.
Rangers, not national.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I'll do national too, I guess. But,
yeah. What are you, Kenny Albert?
By the way, a couple more comments. Michael says they could never pay me enough. They could pop, kick, shove it. We will take over as Sports Port for the top premier sports news network.
And that, Michael, is what it's all about.
Jay Bird does reiterate, stay independent. And he says mascot, ! What do
you think about Michael tooting his own horn, saying that he made you talent?
I mean, he's not wrong. I mean, he did make me talent. I definitely didn't want to be talent. But given the pool of guys we have here, I mean, Mike didn't really want to do it either. Renee didn't want to do it either. So
there was this guy named Barnes that just was all over it.
Yeah. The Barnes only does the sports though.
A little versatile. We've been on screen time.
I know. Talking sports.
Gaming corner. I mean, gears is in sports, Tony.
That's true. It's true. It's a blood sport.
Oh my God. So funny. But honestly, I was almost surprised in a sense, but I guess it's with the directing angle of it. I don't know. I never thought about that. But just I was surprised. I really thought you were gonna say like color
commentating.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be also sick.
I mean, right, a notch below, like, is it close for you, or do you feel like still directing is a decent amount above that in terms of what you think would be ideal if you had the pick of the litter?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's pretty close. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then Michael, a couple more comments here.
Yes, he says he is so talented in regards to me. It's ridiculous. Jay Bird says, LOL, pool in quotations. And then Mike says Barnes is made to run Sportsport News Network. He is the head of it, dude.
I know that's gonna be a bite. Anyway, Tony, so all good stuff there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this game tonight, this hockey game, Raleigh, North Carolina, I'm sure tickets, are reasonable probably, seems like they always are. Tough spot for the Hurricanes in terms of who they've had to play before. Florida has had a tougher road, obviously going through the Goliath that is, Boston. I know Toronto for their playoff faults. What tickets under $100? Am I reading that right?
93, dude. 93.
Unbelievable. 93 won't even get you at Penn Station
for an Eastern Conference final. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But what are you expecting to see here?
Honestly, I think what we've seen a lot too with Hurricanes so far in the playoffs. I think Panthers come out really hot. Again, I've been saying this for a while now. Seemingly no one has found an answer for the Kachuk line. You look at his production in the postseason by itself, 12 games played, 16 points, 5 goals, 11 assists. He's plus 10 out on the ice. He's had 35 shots this postseason. A game-winning goal as well. So he's been absolutely firing on all cylinders. And someone else who's also been firing on all cylinders is Sergei Bobrovsky. He's someone who had a good regular season, nothing crazy. Averaged 3.07 goals against, 901 save percentage, just 1 shutout. And then all of a sudden this postseason, over 10 games played, he has 9 starts, 7-2. 2.82 goals against, 918 save percentage. So kind of a little bit like playing on his head in between the pipes for Florida. So I just think Florida with the momentum in their favor here from coming back, from being the underdog. I just think they come out, all things firing, taking Carolina a little bit by surprise and taking game 1 here. Of course, you do expect the Hurricanes to make adjustments. They're a great defensive team. Obviously really good on the transition from defense to offense, but Florida has come into these series now, this entire postseason, playing a gritty, physical game, and, taking opportunities for, teams that make mistakes. You saw it against Toronto. Toronto's making mistakes left and right, and, the Panthers were just scoring off of those mistakes. And again, Bobrovsky playing really well. You'd imagine Carolina gets a little bit surprised, I think, I'm going to say like maybe a 3-2 victory.
Carolina.
For Florida.
Yeah. It is so tough. It just seems like Florida, it's like they're just on such this run. But the only thing is, I think, you can't underestimate what Carolina has done as well.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a 7-game series. I think game 1 goes to overtime. And I think somehow, some way that the Hurricanes got this out. Maybe Florida even looks better throughout this game, but it's tied 2-2 going to overtime. Maybe 3 minutes into overtime. Nikas, a slap shot, Tony, a slap shot, game winner. Hurricanes take game 1. We'll win this in 7. I think each team defends home ice.
Yeah, I think so.
Chalk it up.
Chokery's pumped.
He definitely did not see it coming. He thought it was over, Stretchkin off, all that.
So crazy.
And here we are.
Yeah.
But, fortunately, it's not here we are. Here they are, Tony. But, what are you going to do? I was kind of interested, too, what you thought, because I was a little surprised here. What do you think the series price is for the Stars, Golden Knights, which is going to get started tomorrow? Who's favored, and then is it a close margin?
I would imagine it's very close.
Yep.
I would imagine it's like Dallas minus 115.
So it's Golden Knights minus 140.
Oh,
Dallas plus 120.
Interesting.
So value there. Stars till the end.
Wow.
But you have to admit, I know, I don't know. I don't know what it is. The Stars. Maybe they're not usually good or something. I don't know. But I really want to see Vegas in there. And I think they're more it's more appealing to the general fan.
I do think so too.
Eichel obviously is
Vegas
a big part of that. Marshall,
great
Vegas
guy.
Market.
The 3rd string goalie. It's a tremendous storyline for Vegas for sure. But Dallas, dude.
Bruce Cassidy.
You love Bruce Cassidy, the Bruins. Did
they blow it? Should they have kept him? I mean, they couldn't wait to run him out the door. And they bring in a new guy. They lose in the first round. I don't know.
I know that is embarrassing. And then for him to stick it to the Boston like that'd be sick for him.
Yeah, to win the title.
But I just think, again, like Dallas, I mean, Jason Robertson has yet to even show up to games. Like,
yeah.
He really hasn't had any production offensively, which is so crazy. So I would, again, expect something out of him this series. Pavelski killing it.
Yeah.
Someone like Pavelski too, who's been, career shark. He went to Dallas. You'd love to see him hoist the cup. I don't think he ever has. Definitely not with San Jose. So he's never hoisted the cup. And then that guy Hintz for Dallas too. The center has been on fire. This postseason specifically, he had a solid regular season, but for him to step up the postseason is great. Ottinger, great goaltender. I like Dallas, dude.
Dallas in
7.
And then what? I forgot the other series. What were you thinking?
I would say Carolina in 6.
Wow, Carolina in 6.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Vegas in 6, Carolina in 7. So
wow,
definitely should be some good hockey. Looking forward to watching it. Let's throw Michael a bone here and go to the world of the National Basketball Association.
The Bulls LeBron James at the buzzer. He banks in the three, and the Lakers win the game.
All right. So last night we had game 1 between the Miami Heat and Boston Celtics, and I said it as we were going off air yesterday. Felt good about the Heat. Seems like they match up well with the Celtics, and I know the Celtics last year beat them, in that Eastern Conference final. But the Heat, as an 8 seed, going up against the Goliath 1 seed Celtics here, win 123-116, and this is a game that the Heat dominated, down the stretch. Able to kind of hold off Boston. Boston at one point had a 13-point lead. Heat had a 12, ended up winning by 7. And it's interesting too. The Heat were able to win, due to their outstanding 3-point shooting, making 16 of 31 attempts from beyond the arc.
Nice.
Boston only shot 34%, 10 of 29, and Boston outscored them 62-40 in the paint, which is interesting. So I know I'm always a big advocate for it. Just take higher percentage shots. Here's a perfect example. You did, but because the other team was making so many. So I guess that's one thing that maybe, I overlook from time to time is you have to keep up with the opponent. If you're constantly making threes, that's going to be a problem. Jimmy Butler has had, next to Jokic, the best postseason in the NBA this year. 35 points last night, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. And then you got, Bam giving him 20 and 8. You got Gabe Vincent and Strus having 15. And then you have Lowry and Martin off the bench with 15. Kevin Love was in the starting lineup, only played 16 minutes. But it's just one of those things. They're so deep. They're so well coached. And Michael talks about it religiously, the organizational philosophy. So I feel like in an era where, short of the Knicks back in 94, we don't see 8 seeds making runs in the playoffs, but because it's Miami, because it's Eric Spoelstra, because it's Jimmy Butler, because it's Pat Riley, they can do this.
It's crazy.
After a mediocre regular season, I think they have Boston right where they want them. And I would not be surprised if they went back to Miami with a 2-game lead. It just seems like they're ready to go. They're going to the finals. It really seems like it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I think at that point, people are starting to murmur like, what goes on in the Celtics? They get knocked out here. Is their coaching question? And if that's the case, then top 3 seeds going to the playoffs kind of can their coaches. But I would imagine Celtics aren't going to go down here without a fight. Last year the Heat lost in the conference finals
to the Celtics.
Right. Yeah, game 7.
Yeah. And the thing too is I don't think Coach Joe Mazzulla is no matter what happens in this series,
be fine.
Yeah, just because he took over for Udoka, had the affair within the organization, was suspended. So it was at a moment's notice. He started out as the interim coach. So he's done a great job. Miami's tough. So I'm sure, like you said, they'll battle back. They're not going to get swept here. But I think long term, he'll be the coach there. But, will Jaylen Brown or Jason? I mean, it has to be Jaylen Brown because you can't trade Jason Tatum. We saw him have 50 points in that closeout game against the Sixers. He's clearly the future. They just need to mix up the parts there. Yeah. They're close, but close is not good enough, as I said about the Yankees, right?
Yeah, Celtics did kind of blow it, though.
Yeah, they've had so much opportunity, so many draft picks.
Yeah.
And it's like just the wrong collection. I don't know what the reason is.
Crazy.
And before we talk about the Lakers game tonight, preferred chirping saying me picking the Nationals to win tonight is not good. Yuri Perez is 6'8". He throws 102-mile-an-hour fastball, and he struck out 7 people in his last start. Prefer, I don't care if he climbed Mount Everest in between starts. It doesn't matter. It's each game is different. And it's a day-to-day league. You know, it doesn't matter what you did last week. You could go throw a no-hitter and then not make it out of the first inning. We've seen it before. So that just doesn't matter. And the Marlins are, they're competitive, but they're not good enough. And I always say this too, when you have a team that's just okay, you can't just say, oh, well, they're like to beat this team. They're like to beat that. It doesn't work like that. So and you know why I did it, Tony? It was one of those things where I actually did want to take the Marlins, but then I was thinking they won the previous 2 games. Every time I'm in this situation, I feel like I would take the Marlins and they wouldn't win. Yeah. So that's why I'm just saying the Nationals.
No, you're totally right.
Against muscle memory.
Yeah.
Michael liking the Mount Everest.
Mount Everest, he says.
And I was mentioning, so the Lakers game 2 tonight in Denver. Denver 5.5-point favorites here. I think it was like a 6-point win, I want to say, that they had in game 1. So the Lakers obviously looking to even this series up before they go back to Los Angeles, and just confirmation on the score. It was 132-126. So lots of offense, not a lot of defense. Think about the high altitude. It's interesting. Total kind of low. I think it was 221 last game. It's 226.5 this game. I feel like it's still going to go over. Both teams like to move the ball, run the floor. It's such a tough matchup for the Lakers. They're plus 175 on the money line tonight. So I think they're going to have to battle it out. Of course, they need their stars to show up, and I think they're going to need to make a lot of 3-pointers. So D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves in that regard, maybe Beasley gets a cup of coffee. And then LeBron has to have his, 30-point triple-double that he usually does have in the playoffs. I know the odds are against it, but I think they will find a way. They've just been on such a run, and you think about it, it's been a while since they've even I don't know when the last time they lost back-to-back games this postseason was.
Wow.
They just played so consistent. I actually want to look that up. So obviously last game was so they did not lose back-to-back games against the Warriors. And let's see, against the Grizzlies.
No.
So they have not lost back-to-back games all postseason.
That's crazy.
Trend continues tonight. I'm going to say Lakers 134, Nuggets 125. The stars are out tonight, Tony. I'm kind of curious what you think. I know you're a big Jokic guy, not a big LeBron guy. I'm expecting you to say Denver's going up 2-0, going back to Los Angeles.
I think they will be going up 2-0. You mentioned the at home in Denver, the altitude. Jamal Murray's been absolutely killing it, and Jokic just. I understand he's a big man and everything, but he's got like some light feet. I feel, dude. He's got some sweet moves. He had like a sweet spin around dunk on Anthony Davis, dude. And I don't know. I just think that matchup is so intense. That battle is so good, dude. And I think Jokic takes it, dude. I don't think there's really an answer for him right now. Like I said, with some of the supporting characters, I mentioned that point guard yesterday, Brown, off the bench, who was pretty solid. I think he had like 16 points, maybe, or 12 points, something off the bench. But he just comes into the game and he's quick, he brings energy on the floor. And then Jamal Murray I feel like he was just absolutely gelling from the field, even from 3.2. So I say Nuggets take game 2, sure.
And to your happiness too.
I mean, I'm picking them, yeah, of course, dude.
But besides that, I'm saying, you want to see the LeBron and the Lakers go down.
I think you should be worried about what Michael wants to see. Okay.
What does that have to do with
Yeah, dude.
Well, of course we know. We could have a whole show on that.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, does Jokic 50-point triple-double?
Chipotle double. Wouldn't some Napoleon be good right now, Tony?
Oh,
with a cup of coffee?
Yeah.
Cappuccino.
Dude,
I'm telling you,
good,
Tony,
dude.
You're overdue for it. Got to try.
Don't delight. Wow, dude.
I mean, I feel like you guys occasionally. Well, I know you definitely sometimes have to go to Stanford, Norwalk, exit 13, right off of 95. I'm telling you, next time you're going that direction.
So you normally get off exit 15.
get off exit 15, but sometimes don't you have to go to Stanford like to Metcha or something?
Rarely,
but occasionally. So we know that's exit 8. Plus, it's in Stanford as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So next time, I'm just saying, you want a coffee, Michael. I'm telling you, the coffee connoisseur that he is, you want to try it. I'm telling you, you're gonna like it.
Okay,
you're gonna like it.
All right.
I just want to make sure.
Yes, I do want to try it. I'll be the first to know when I try it.
And I think there's a better chance that you guys do that than go to the driving range. So I mean, you might as well do it, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
maybe if we're in Stanford, we can go to the driving range and get Donut Delight and knock out.
There you go. There you go. And then go to the comedy club.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we'll see if they can answer back tonight. And of course, our respective baseball teams hoping for the best there.
I'll see you at the stadium today, brother.
Oh, I can't wait to go back to the stadium. And I can't wait to see some runs on the board. I know it's happening tonight. I was just going to mention Kazuki Higa on a little bit of a heater here. 3 under through 4 with the outright lead in the PGA Championship at Oak Hill. Scott Stallings, 1 shot back here at 2 under. And then you got a couple guys also at 1 under par. KH Lee, Ryan Fox, Emmanuel Grillo, Steve Holmes, Davis Riley. And really notable wise, I mean, former major champion Zach Johnson just played 1 hole. He's even. Harold Varner, the third, back from Live, is even through 2. And then looking down the list here, Sahith Sagala, bogeys number 1. But Brooks Koepka, Scotty Scheffler, Gary Woodland, all major champions about to tee off. Or actually already did tee off, but they haven't officially completed their first hole. So that'll be a fun group to watch. Got Rory, JT, Colin Morikawa, 10:01. And then looking further down the list here, Shane Lowry, Jordan Spieth, Victor Hovland at 10:12. And then this is an interesting group. Matt Fitzpatrick, Cam Smith, John Rahm. Tony, how about that?
Oh, wow.
10:23.
10:23. It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I don't know. This thing just updates slowly but plus we know how the PGA, they always talk about pace. Sometimes I'm sure these holes take 35 minutes to play.
Oh yeah, dude.
Wow.
Prefer.
And then
you want to get Michael first?
Yeah.
Michael says there's 1 on High Ridge.
6 in Stanford, Michael. 6.
Stanford.
6.
Tony, driver range between Matt and Matt. I'm down. We'll see what the schedule is like. And then, but first is Happy Fast X Day. Production budget's over $350 million. I have 4 p.m. movie tickets. We are doing a screen time review tomorrow, ? That's what Michael and I really should be doing today, is going to see Fast and Furious 10.
Well, the only thing I would say, Tony, is I don't know if was it. Yeah, I guess it was last week. Boy, that seems like forever ago. But there's an opportunity. One of you guys could have went to a Yankee game. Instead, you saw a movie. Said it was terrible.
Right.
You're going to do it to yourself again.
Do you want to go to the Yankee game tonight?
Well, we got to go to Toronto. So.
Yeah.
Just saying. Next time.
I really thought Matt would take the tickets, honestly.
So did I, but it ended up working out. My good buddy, Jordan, who I grew up with, we played basketball all the time growing up. He's here for a couple months. He had been living in Boston. He's staying in Bridgeport for the next couple months.
Oh, that's nice.
Before I think he's going to move to San Diego, actually. But he hadn't been to a Yankee game in 10 years.
Wow.
He's a huge Yankee fan, but was living in Boston. So ended up working out. He was happy to be able to go. So great time, but obviously all of us do for that, do for the golf. Do you think Michael's serious about the driving range between Matt and Matt? Honestly, not to call him out, but
yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, do you think you'll remember to go video if you do end up going?
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Definitely, dude. Golf. Who else do you think of with golf?
When doesn't Mike remember the videos? So
yeah, that's true. That is true. So get on it, Michael.
Yes.
I'm trusting you in that one. But other than that, Tony, anything you wanted to mention here on the way out?
No, I don't think so. Behind the scenes, Super Mario Power Plumber is over there.
What you struggling through? That's
I know, dude.
Because you're not used to saying it. I'm saying it. That's why.
I know. Normally, yeah. So check it out. It's on YouTube, dude. Check it out. Check it out, Brian. Did you check it out, dude?
Yeah, I checked it out, but I think you didn't have your coffee yet today.
No, I haven't had coffee yet today. Early sports port. Skip the coffee.
Home, the pods. What happened, Jay?
I don't have pods. Some pods. Yeah, Jay makes a single cup for himself, and that's it.
He won't make you a cup?
No, never.
Is it the classic coffee or is it the Keurig?
It's the classic coffee pot. But then we also have like this single cup maker where you put the grounds in this.
Oh, right. And then I would, yeah. So I mean, but okay, I guess it's just like you kind of like sleep as much as you can, and then you're rushing, and it's just like it's annoying type of thing, or sometimes you even forget.
No, yeah, this morning it was like, as obviously everything gets pushed back an hour, so you get up, you're kind of a little groggy. I went for the run, you stretch, shower, run. Dude. Yeah. Jay Burst is asking you shall receive, Tony. That's ridiculous.
Seems like you're at a massage parlor.
Yeah. All right, we gotta go, Brian. Let's go, dude. It's almost 11.
Oh, come on. Oh, it's 11. It's 10:20, Tony. Is your no, I'm kidding, Tony. I'm kidding. And luckily you're going to Bridgeport, not Norwalk. So there you go.
I know, but I still would imagine. I mean, it's a graduation.
Parking.
It's probably gonna take 20 minutes to park, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, exactly. And speaking to that, definitely like to give a special congratulations to Matthew.
Let's go.
Graduating today. Good stuff, brother. We're all so proud of you here at Downtime TV.
Yeah, baby.
And we appreciate everybody tuning in, continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page. Tony, Michael, Renee in costume, all the episodes of Sports Sport, Screen Time, The Dream is Free, the vlogs, the gaming corner. Check all of that out, as well as the merch. Spring in the Air, Jimmy Nance, downtimetv.com. We want everybody to enjoy their day. Let's go Yankees. Tony's saying let's go Mets. We will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.